What's up everybody? So today we've got a YouTube video coming at you with 4 great mobility exercises that I feel are hugely underrated for athletes. So these are all exercises that I feel most athletes, especially those with low back pain, hip issues, back issues, would really benefit from. So come follow along today to check those out and make sure you're covering all your mobility bases with these. So this first one's probably my favorite. So it's a sideline rotation with a band. Now, the sideline rotation in itself is a brilliant exercise. So what we're doing here is we're kind of allowing our lower back just to be locked off a little bit by bringing that knee up nice and high, which you're about to see in a second. And then it enables us to get a little bit more rotation through that thoracic region, and then also allows us to open out our shoulders as well. So this one's really, really great for thoracic mobility in that rotational pattern. So we've got the addition of the band in this one. Now, what the band does is that it gets a little bit of activation of those kind of the scapular retractors. So the addition of the band is really, really great just to kind of cover all bases. So check this one out.
I've got a foam roller underneath my knee. I'm going to keep my knee clamped down on there. I've got a light resistance band. I'm going to have my arm directly out towards the side, keeping that fist on the floor. I'm then going to pull that band apart, so it's like a band pull apart, all the way across my chest, trying to get my wrist to touch the floor, squeeze my shoulder blades together, and then release back to the start. Wherever my hand goes, my head's going to follow at the same time as well.
So the next mobility exercise you're about to see is a modified pigeon stretch. Now, a pigeon stretch is really great for stretching your glutes and your piriformis. Now, the piriformis can really get tight in a lot of people, especially athletes that are training their glutes all the time, and especially people that are sat down quite a bit during the day. Your piriformis can get quite tight. Now, the tendency for athletes is to not stretch their glutes and not stretch their piriformis. So what you can get there is really, really tight hips. You can also get things like sciatica, which is basically your piriformis clamping down on your sciatic nerve and causing pain and kind of irritation all the way down your leg. So this is a really great mobility exercise just to kind of cover all bases around your hips, and one I don't think a lot of people are doing. We're modifying it by, you're about to see it, but by placing your knee and your thigh on top of a bench. Check this one out.
I've got an incline bench set to about 45 degrees. I'm going to place my leg on top of that so my thigh is resting against that incline. I'm then going to take that back leg back and just sit into it, all right? So this is kind of quite individual. Some people might feel it more by kind of going here. Some people might want to kind of rotate in towards that knee. But we'll just kind of sit in that position, hanging out in that position, really trying to feel it in that glute, in that piriformis, okay? So you can kind of get a little bit deeper. You can shift yourself around a little bit, find where you feel that stretch and just hold it there.
Okay, mobility exercise number 3 is a modified cat-cow. Some people call these a modified cat-camel. To be honest, I don't think they look like either a cat, a camel, or a cow, but that's what they're called. Now, the modification here is a basic cat-camel or basic cat-cow where you're emphasizing that anterior posterior pelvic tilt, as you're about to see. But what we do is we use a resistance band on that lumbar area just to help cue that anterior posterior pelvic tilt and kind of pushing your lower back into the band. So really it's just allowing us to think more about the movement that we're trying to create. The resistance band isn't adding any kind of difficulty to anything. If anything, we're modifying it to make it a slightly better feeling exercise and to get a better kind of connection from it. With this modified cat-cow, it's really great if you suffer from any kind of low back pain or low back fatigue. Now, I tend to sometimes get some low back pain. I've had it for years, just kind of from my rugby playing days. Now, if I turn up to the gym one day, my lower back's a little bit stiff, this is the one movement I will always add in there. And then after 5 minutes, my back feels so much better and I can crack on with the rest of my workout. So if you have lower back pain, lower back fatigue, try adding that one into the start of your workouts, or even kind of superset some exercises.
So I've got a resistance band into my lower back, which acts as a nice cue to kind of push into. Idea here obviously is pelvic motion. So what I'm going to do is imagine kind of allowing that band to pull me in its direction, okay? But that's my pelvis moving to help kind of get some extension in the back. And then I'm going to pull my pubic bone up towards my rib cage, pushing into that band to come to the top. So allow it to pull me into it, rolling that pelvis, and then repeat.
So this fourth and final mobility exercise, or stretch, if you want to call it that, is called the Bretzel Stretch. A guy called Brett came up with it, and it makes you look a little bit like a pretzel, hence Bretzel, okay? So you're about to check that out in a second, and you'll understand why it's called a Bretzel Stretch. But basically, you are covering all your bases here with one stretch. So if you're a little bit like me, and I'll be honest, I sometimes forget to stretch, or should we say I always forget to stretch after my workout. And just to go off tangent here like I do sometimes, you don't necessarily have to stretch post-workout. It doesn't necessarily improve your recovery, but if you do have some mobility restrictions, it's a good place to add it. So the Bretzel Stretch is kind of a cover all bases flexibility exercise you can add in after your workouts, as well as like your recovery days and stuff, that really hits a lot. So we're getting some hip extension, we're getting some hip flexion in there, we're getting some thoracic rotation in there, we're opening out your shoulders, we're opening out your hips, we're improving mobility in kind of your upper spine. It's a really great all-in-one exercise, and how I'm about to show you is more like a PNF style variation, so like a contract relax style variation, which can help improve your flexibility even more. So give the Bretzel Stretch a try, check out how it's done next.
What I'm going to do is lie myself directly on my side. I'm going to take my top knee over and bent. I'm then going to lock that in place, really kind of get a tight grip of that, okay? You're then going to grab that bottom foot and you're going to go 3, 2, 1, peel yourself back. If you want a little bit of padding for your head, it's nice kind of for that neck alignment. You don't need it though. So I'm going to peel myself back. I'm pulling that bottom leg back as well, and then I'm going to look over my shoulder. So the whole time I'm going to try and really pull this shoulder down in towards the floor and hold that position. What I can do as well, I can kind of incorporate a bit of PNF stretching, so almost like breaking that grip in a way, okay? So I'm trying to break that grip, and then I can kind of release, I can reset, I can take myself into it again. I can really try and break that grip, again, looking over my shoulder, trying to get my shoulder towards the floor, and then just relax.
So hopefully you enjoyed today's really quick video, guys. So obviously we've gone through 4 mobility exercises that I feel are really underrated for athletes. Now you can be stretching your hip flexors and stretching your shoulders and things like that all the time, and doing the exact same stretches all the time and thinking that you're making some improvements. But try adding these in and you will really start to see some big improvements to things. So as I've mentioned before, just the addition of some resistance bands to things can help improve the ability of the exercise to get a better connection, or kind of give you a little bit of a cue to kind of think about. You don't necessarily have to have the addition of the band in a few exercises I've shown you with, just the basics work very well, really. So you've got 4 exercises there you can give a try, pre-workout, post-workout, in between sets, in your recovery days, anytime really. Give them a try, let us know how you get along. And remember, if you like this video, make sure you like the video, subscribe to my channel, and then we will see you again for another awesome video next week.